The day began with a somber visit to the cemetery at the Musqueam First Nation by Pope Francis. While there, he says he had some time to reflect on what took place at the former residential school that once stood here, and offered a silent prayer for those that never made it home. Over at the Arbor, the official event began with a grand entry from chiefs, leaders, and residential school survivors. The procession also included a long red banner with the names of over 4,120 children who never came home from residential schools. Former Truth and Reconciliation Commissioner, Grand Chief Willie Littlechild, made the opening remarks.
During the recent visit to your home at the Vatican by a delegation of Indigenous survivors, elders, knowledge keepers, and youth, you also heard of the abuses so many of us have suffered at this and other residential schools. During our time with you, it was clear to us all that you listened deeply and with great compassion to the testimonies that told of the way our languages were suppressed, our culture taken from us.
For many here, the pain is still evident on their faces as the Pope addressed the crowd.
Estoy aquí en esta tierra que junto a una memoria antigua
Today, I am here in this land that, along with its ancient memories, preserves the scars of still open wounds. I am here because the first step of my penitential pilgrimage among you is that of again asking forgiveness, of telling you once more that I am deeply sorry. Sorry for the ways in which, regrettably, many Christians supported the colonizing mentality of the powers that oppressed the indigenous peoples.
Ron Beardy from the Garden Hill First Nations in Manitoba was very emotional after hearing him speak.
As a residential school survivor myself, and I've carried that for a long time, and it's very hard. I got emotional, especially when I thought about the little ones that never made it home, that had their unmarked graves. Those little babies and little boys that did not return to their mummies and daddies.
But for National Chief of the AFN, Roseanne Archibald, she says more work needs to be done.
He didn't address the doctrine of discovery. We've been asking for the revoking of the doctrine of discovery since the beginning of this journey, and he didn't address it at all.
But for Eileen Clearsky, she says that the horrific legacy of residential school has affected generations of her family, and this visit by the Pope is a new beginning in her healing.
The legacy of residential school has had a huge impact on our families, and we're suffering, and we need to heal through that process now with the Pope acknowledging. And now I was so happy that he actually apologized and is looking forward to the future for all First Nations people and children.
Tina House, APTN National News, Musqueam First Nation.